What is up, Dallas Cowboys fans, and good morning to you. Welcome into a Thursday edition of the Dallas Cowboys Daily Blitz podcast right here on FanStream Sports and the Dallas Cowboys Daily Blitz YouTube channel. Our new Dallas Cowboys, that's not really new anymore. You guys go over there and subscribe to it, though, just for me. It would be incredible if you could do that for me. Good morning. Hope you've got your Go Juice, whatever that consists of every morning, your coffee, your Red Bull, your Monster, your 3-hour energy, your hell, just combine all of them together. I don't know what you guys do. My go-to is usually coffee, although I haven't had it yet. It's brewing right now as we broadcast this morning. But I usually can limit myself to like 2 of those big, to-go cups or whatever every morning, and then usually by 10 a.m. Central Time, when I'm in the middle of that Tampa Bay show that I do every weekday morning, I'm usually switching to Red Bull. I don't think I can drink coffee after 10. I mean, physically, I'm sure I could. I think it's a weird mental thing. Like, coffee just doesn't taste good after 10 a.m. And no, I'm not one of these guys that go to Starbucks or Black Rifle or any of these coffee places in the middle of the day. I just can't do it. Can't do coffee. I might drink 19 Red Bulls in the middle of the day, but for some reason I just can't do coffee. I don't know. I'm sure it's just a weird mental thing. I got a lot of weird mental things going on, as most people know. It is what it is. I thought this morning, boys and girls, we would stay out of the training camp area topics, because we're going to get into plenty of those. An interesting topic that I did see that I think very highly of, and that I think is a little underreported, is the Dallas Cowboys' dirty cap secret. And look, we've all heard the Dallas Cowboys are different this year. Actually, we hear that every year, right? This year, we're hearing they're quieter, they're smarter, they're more disciplined. There's less drama around the star this year. Now, that could be factual. But I've got a little bit different theory on all of this. I don't think the Cowboys have changed in the way they do things. What I think is that Jerry Jones has just discovered the Cowboys' credit card, and he is willing to let Stephen Jones max it out. What does that mean? Well, I'm talking about the one thing the Cowboys have actually done differently this season. Because when you strip away all of those headlines, the unusually calm atmosphere around the star, and all of the congratulations that the front office is handing out to each other, a whole lot of this still looks like the same old Dallas Cowboys. Contract uncertainty, still there. Bargain bin free agents, still there. Yet another new defensive coordinator, absolutely the case. Prayers and hopes for injured players to magically return to full strength and maybe be better than they should be. You already know the answer. But underneath all of that, I think the Jones family has made one tremendous, gigantuous philosophical change. Because for the first time in a long time, the Dallas Cowboys are borrowing heavily from tomorrow to build a better roster today. And whether you love it or hate it, that means the pressure to win now just went through the roof. I don't know if the roof was open, but it went through the roof. Let's start with George Pickens. The Cowboys placed the franchise tag on Pickens after his unexpected 2025. I don't think anybody expected that performance. I don't think anybody expected him to keep his nose clean, relatively clean. I didn't. But the Cowboys reward him not with a long-term contract that breaks the bank, but rather with the 1-year fully guaranteed franchise tag of $27.3 million. They had until July 15th to work out a deal. They didn't. And in fact, not only did they not, they made it clear before the draft that they weren't going to. And that sounds like a potentially explosive Dallas Cowboys contract story, doesn't it? Star receiver, franchise tag, no extension talks, training camp approaching. Oh, my God. And normally this is where Jerry Jones gives a 3-hour radio interview. Stephen Jones starts talking about pie, and somebody's agent starts launching missiles at the Cowboys through social media. None of that happened. Why? Not because the Cowboys have suddenly figured out how to manage crisis management. It happened because George Pickens decided to sign the tag, show up, and play football. Pickens was the adult in the room. So give him credit for keeping the story from becoming a full-blown media circus. But don't pretend the front office invented some brilliant new strategy. That did not happen. They slapped the tag on him, told him there would be no negotiations. They hope he accepted it, and he did. That's not organizational evolution. That's the organization catching a really great break. Then we get to free agency. Dallas signed Jalen Thompson. That was a legitimate investment in a proven safety who should have an important role in Christian Parker's defense next year. They also added P.J. Locke, Kobe Durant, and several lower-cost players to fill out the depth chart. Camp bodies is what some of these guys are. Now, that's better than doing absolutely nothing, right? The Cowboys also traded for Rashan Gary, giving the defense another established veteran and a pass rusher. But Dallas didn't immediately, magically, suddenly become the Washington Commanders, throwing giant contracts in every direction. No. Did Jerry Jones back a Brinks truck into the parking lot and begin handing out bags of money to every premium free agent? Nope. Most of the Cowboys roster construction still came through calculated trades, affordable signings, restructures, and short-term moves. That's much closer to their traditional operating procedure than a lot of people want to admit. The difference isn't that Dallas went crazy shopping. The difference is that it finally created enough room on the credit card to pay for what was already in the basket. And yes, we have another new defensive coordinator. Christian Parker is young, intriguing, relatively unproven as the man running the entire defense, but there's obviously reason to be excited. Players have praised him, his attention to detail, his background in the secondary could be exactly what Dallas needs after finishing dead last in points last season. But hiring an ascending first-time coordinator isn't some completely foreign concept for this organization. The Cowboys did something very similar on the offense with Clayton Adams. That hire also appears to have worked. Now they're hoping that Christian Parker can bring the same type of fresh thinking to a defense that desperately needs to be rebuilt. It could be a terrific hire. It could also blow up. And this is what happens when you hand the keys to somebody for the first time. The approach isn't necessarily new. The stakes are just a lot higher. And then there's the most familiar Dallas Cowboys offseason tradition of all time. They have mastered the art of this. Hoping injured players come back and immediately become stars again. Last year, the Cowboys needed Trayvon Diggs, DeMarvion Overshown, and Sam Williams to return and transform the defense. That did not happen. This year, they're counting on Chavon Ravel, Deron Bland, and once again, DeMarvion Overshown. Revel played just in 7 games during his rookie year after recovering from the torn ACL he suffered in college. Bland has dealt with those nagging foot problems that cost him games over the past 2 seasons. Overshown's talent has never been the issue. Keeping him on the field has been an issue. Can all 3 stay healthy and give Christian Parker a very dangerous defense? Sure. But Dallas has purchased another ticket for the NFL injury lottery. Maybe this one hits. Maybe it doesn't. Either way, we have seen this movie before. So what is really different? The Cowboys have finally embraced the philosophy of the legendary J. Wellington Wimpy. I will gladly pay you Tuesday for a hamburger today. And if you get that reference, and you know who J. Wellington Wimpy is, let's be friends. Dallas wants the hamburger, and Dallas wants it right now. And future Dallas can worry about paying for it. The Cowboys restructured the contracts of Dak, CD, and Tyler Smith. They created more than $65 million in 2026 cap space. That money didn't come out of thin air. The salary cap is not some magical loophole where Jerry Jones pushes a button and gets $65 million for free. The bill was pushed into future seasons through bonus conversions, prorated money, and void years. In other words, Dallas did not eliminate that cost. It changed the due date. And the Cowboys have done that far more aggressively this year than usual. They entered the offseason outside the top 20 in money allocated to void years. After their restructures and the contract maneuvering, they climbed all the way to 4th in the NFL, roughly 4 times the league average. So the Cowboys apparently are no longer obsessed with keeping their future books perfectly clean. You want to know why? Because they've seen every other NFL team that's been successful over the past few years do it and be successful. Finally, Dallas is saying, we have Dak Prescott now. We have CD Lamb now. We have George Pickens now. We have Quinnen Williams, Kenny Clark, Rashan Gary. We have all these guys now. Let's maximize this roster while these guys are still here. Oh, my God. Groundbreaking philosophy. And that philosophy is different for this thing. Moving money into future years allows Dallas to absorb the full $27.3 million franchise tag for Pickens. It allowed the Cowboys to carry expensive veteran contracts on defense. Quinnen Williams and Kenny Clark are not cheap. Rashan Gary isn't cheap. Quality defensive linemen are almost never cheap. Dallas also avoided having to dump every respectable veteran whose contract might have looked inconvenient. Players like Terrence Steele, Malik Hooker, those dudes could have been cap casualties this offseason under the Cowboys' old approach of pinching pennies. Instead, Dallas worked the contracts and found ways to preserve more of the roster. All of that stuff matters. For years, the Cowboys have watched Philadelphia manipulate the salary cap like a Vegas card counter, while Dallas just acted as though pushing money into future seasons was illegal or something. Meanwhile, the Eagles kept adding players, extending stars, and contending for championships. Philadelphia has taken that void year strategy almost to comical extreme. Dallas hasn't quite reached that level yet, but it's finally accepted the basic reality of the modern NFL. The salary cap can be managed. You don't get a trophy in the NFL for having the cleanest looking spreadsheet. Nobody hangs a banner because the 2029 dead cap number looks reasonable. However, this approach absolutely comes with a risk. That future money becomes real. If the Cowboys have to move on from an aging player, restructure another contract, or begin rebuilding, those delayed cap charges are going to kill them. The bill always arrives. That due date always sneaks up on you. The Eagles have made this approach work because they draft well, because they can develop replacement players, and they're willing to make difficult roster decisions. Dallas can't just copy the accounting trick. It's got to copy the roster discipline that makes that trick sustainable. You can't keep borrowing from the future to pay average players. It's not how this thing works. You can't continually restructure contracts and then miss on the draft picks. It doesn't work that way. And you certainly can't mortgage tomorrow to finish 9-8 and lose another wild card game. This strategy only makes sense if the Cowboys are genuinely positioned to contend, and that comes through roster building. So, have the Dallas Cowboys changed? Not completely. They still handled the George Pickens situation in a very Dallas Cowboys way. They still avoided becoming one of the NFL's wildest free agent spenders. They're still gambling on a first-year defensive coordinator. They're still relying on important position players to bounce back from injury. A lot of the furniture inside the Star looks exactly the same, but the difference here is that the Joneses are changing the financing around those things. Instead of protecting future cap space at all costs, Dallas is now accepting more long-term financial risk. That doesn't guarantee success, and it certainly does not mean we should start planning a Super Bowl parade through Arlington. By the way, where would that parade be? Would the Super Bowl parade still be in Dallas? I mean, I hope we have an opportunity to debate that. The Texas Rangers had the World Series parade around the stadium in Arlington. I might hazard a guess, if the Cowboys win the Super Bowl, that parade's going to be in Arlington, not Dallas. Could be wrong on that. Might have to do a show about that. What do y'all think about that? But look, here's the question for you guys. Do you like Dallas pushing money into future seasons to chase a championship now? Or do you think that the Joneses are just creating another financial mess that will eventually explode in their face? Drop your answer in the comments. Make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel, turn on those notifications now so you never miss an episode of the Dallas Cowboys Daily Blitz right here on FanStream Sports. I'm IndyCarTim, boys and girls. Thanks for joining us today, or later today or tomorrow or this week on the recorded podcast, wherever you get your podcasts, always on demand at fanstreamsports.com. The Cowboys finally ordered the hamburger. Now they'd better win before Tuesday gets here. Until tomorrow, we'll see you.